What's up, y'all? I haven't made a video in a minute like this, so I wanted to put my thoughts out there for a second, just keep feeding my channel. First of all, I appreciate everybody that's subscribed recently. That's super awesome. I'm getting closer and closer ever to 1,000 subscribers, which is super cool. This channel is always going to be consistent physical fitness, emotional health, or rather emotional stability, mental health, spiritual satisfaction, and financial independence. You can let your mind wander, you can think about a lot of things, but if you think about those things also, my contention is you'll have a foundation upon which to build. I've talked a lot about the importance of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, the ability for you to speak your mind. And I keep coming back to that because I see how intense the influence of emotionally incensing, emotionally triggering social media content is, and how corrosive that can be to community, to friendships, to relationships. And I caution you to be careful of the amount of power you give social media, news over your, like I say, physical fitness, mental health, emotional stability, and spiritual satisfaction, and of course your financial independence. So there's a lot of things going on in the world, right? Left versus right, socialism versus capitalism, the East versus the West, the old versus the young, the rich versus the poor. Like, choose your battle, right? You can always take up arms and fight some existential battle. In the West, we live in a sort of postmodern haze. We're so prosperous, we are so numb to actual real physical struggle that we get manipulated, I think, more easily. If you live in a place like, Dagestan or Syria, or, Gaza, you're not focused on social media to activate your lizard brain. You're getting that fear for your life in your daily, interactions. So the West is in a weird place because I think we've become soft. I think since World War II, people have become weak. And I don't just mean physically weak, but also physically weak, emotionally weak, morally weak, spiritually weak. And those things are extraordinarily important, in my estimation, to bolster you against the tragedies inevitably that come in life. You could lead a perfectly good life, and even so, you'd eventually have to, as we all do, face the reality of mortality. And it's weird because you look around and you see some of these rich technocrats really thinking that they're going to overcome mortality. And call me a Luddite, I just think that that's silly. But in any case, you're going to face setbacks in your life. You're going to face evil. You just will. There will be malevolent forces that you have to contend with in your life. Hopefully you don't become seduced by them such that you're a, vector for malevolence in the world around you. But you need strength to resist those kinds of temptations. There will always be the option of choosing, money over integrity, or, pleasure over, honesty, or, vanity over honor, or, there's always the opportunity to be led astray by sin. Sin means missing the mark. It means to err, and we all make errors, but we ought to be making errors in service of calibrating our aim correctly. If we make errors intentionally, that, codes for our character. So what am I talking about? What I'm saying is, I think in the West, we're being led down a dark path by this kind of social media parasite, because what it does is it grabs our time, right? It makes us focus our time on input that is increasingly destabilizing, because the game is to get you activated emotionally so that you want to continue to consume, or you feel that you need to continue to consume this, media. What I'm telling you is hit the gym, write, journal, go to work hard, tell the truth that people don't want to hear. Say it. What you have to say it. Deal with the consequences. Work on your body. Get your mind right. Process your emotions so that you can come to some kind of peace and serenity and harmony and 0 point where you're not constantly just acting out previous patterns of behavior. And get right with God. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be Catholic. But you have to ask yourself the deep questions about life. Where did you come from? Where are you going? What's your purpose? What's a good life look like to you? Those are the things that are important. Social media is not important. Because if you can have the strength that's conferred to you by a strong body, by a, resolute and resilient mind, by a, controlled emotional state, and by a uprightness existentially, then you will not be somebody that will be able to be co-opted by external forces for their machinations. You will do what you want to do in your life. And I wish that for you. So, about to go hit the gym. I'm hurting, I'm sore, I'm in a bad mood. Doesn't matter, right? I'm gonna get after it. And that's because I need to be, for my children, for my wife, for my friends, for my coworkers, for everybody that I'm associated with, the kind of person that I increasingly become through working on my physical fitness, my mental health, my emotional stability, my spiritual satisfaction, and my financial independence. So that's all. Love you guys so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep feeding this channel. Please like and subscribe and all of that. This is a passion project. This is about me being my authentic self to hopefully, I've said this on this channel before, but I want to say this anecdote because I think it's really interesting. I was talking to my buddy Tristan Haggard. I haven't seen him in years. I love him. He knows I love him. We lived together. We were roommates in Santa Cruz. He went from being an unremarkable athlete, frumpy skateboarder, we were both big potheads, to being an unbelievable physique, to being extremely focused on his diet, to building a successful YouTube channel. And I always enjoy speaking with him because we have good conversations about, topics, and he's a deep thinker and so forth. And I had a realization talking with him one time because we were debating this or that. And I say, Tristan, it's interesting. You don't have to convince me of anything for me to benefit from you. And what do I mean by that? He's my buddy, right? So if I see him kicking ass in life, I think, shit, I gotta up my game. If he can do it, I can do it. And he's kicking butt, so I'm gonna step my game up. So this idea that we have to exhibit or exercise direct control over others is false. What we have to do, what every individual has to do in life, is their best and align, right? For no external validation, for no gold stars, for no points, to just be the best that they can be. Because what happens is, because the universe is intelligent, because there exists intelligence outside of the self, the world responds to that, right? And so I'm going to do my best for me. And my hope is that it benefits you and everybody else. So love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next one.